Good morning. Do you know what it takes for optimal development? Optimal development is giving your child enough avenues on movement. Now, it doesn't matter if you're talking about this child or you're talking about a child that's a day old, right? I posted a lot of, or I'm starting to post a lot of baby videos right now because people just, again, there was absolutely nothing wrong with the birthing process. And I'm trying to show you what you think is a viable birth, healthy, optimal for development might not be the case, right? And so these little glitches can happen literally the day your child's born. They don't have the power, know-how, ability, whatever is your vocabulary to compensate or overcome or whatever it is. A whole thing or being for a child is for them to respond to stimuli. That's it. And you can say that about your 4-year-old. You know, there's a sound, they're responding to stimuli. They really don't know a good touch, a bad touch, good movement, bad movement. They are responding to stimuli. Now, it's up to us to start learning, and that's why I'm here, to show you what would be optimal development, right? Because to sit there and hope and dream that your child's gonna play for the Raiders one day or something like that, and you might say, I don't want to play them for the Raiders. That's fine, but it should be their decision. Saying that they don't want to versus they can't, right? And so I don't want the conversations of I can't do that. That's not right for your grandmother, and it's not right for your brand new baby. And so this whole big misconception of all babies just develop differently. Well, again, if you don't see the feeds recently of just these births that I'm showing you, those babies don't have a fighting chance. I can tell you right now, and again, a parent that's put into thing is because just because your baby goes home alive, and you saw that again today is a baby being resuscitated outright, aspiration swallowed, and they're like, oh, don't worry about it, she's absolutely fine. And they show a swaddled baby on a dad's lap, not even holding the child, she's fine. Medically, she might be fine. Ready for development? I beg to differ. There was no opposition to gravity. There was no skeletal buoyancy. Nothing happened. If you think she's going to have reflex integration disorder, yes. But this is where parents go nuts with a lot of these kind of different protocols, because now you're seeing a problem and you're going after trying to fix the problem versus what is the stress that caused that. And so I'm not saying you have to go back to a rebirthing thing, but guys, you have to do your newborn movement assessment. I don't care if your child's 15. You know, again, I'm sorry I called it the newborn movement assessment, but it should just be the movement assessment for optimal development. But it is what it is. And so please, please, please start getting to know how your baby should be. And that's what's important. Right now, I'm doing a free course offer and so forth. It's a great course. There's so many videos you're never going to see unless you're in the course. Go look at it. Go check it out. Go, yes, it's mainly for CP and SPML, but at the same time, too, the details in it, the way I explain things, the instruction, my practitioners should be taking this course. People that are thinking about it, people that are in segment training, right? It's just more information that you're going to get that ahas from. And that's where I teach in my big trainings. I say, it might not matter today, it might not matter tomorrow, but even 5 years from now, you're going to go, oh, I remember Michelle talking about that. And that's why I just keep doing these videos. But you have to understand that you do not know what optimal development is if you haven't evaluated your child for movement. But just to assume because you have a cute little baby and they're kind of cooing at you that everything's going to be okay. And it might be the case. I'm never looking for something to be wrong. I'm looking for something to be optimal. But in more cases than not, you start getting non-optimal development. And so that's what you have to learn. And you're not going to get it from mainstream. You're just not. They're looking for, is your child pooing, sleeping? How are they fitting in the car seat? They're not looking at where your child's developing, and they're not evaluating it, and you just get this false sense of security. I've gone through it. I've spent years trying to get my kid to where he is, years, hours. And it was worth it, worth every moment of it. But my only regret, I would have started sooner. I didn't know. I didn't have a plan. I'm doing all this so you don't have to go through what I go through, right? And to see these babies go through what is considered a successful birth, you have to understand there's not one study out there that shows different variations on birth and how the child turned out. Not one. If you ask your OBGYN how many special needs children they produce, they'll look at you like you got 3 heads. The only way they get feedback is maybe something like that is when you're coming back, you've had multiple children and you're coming back and they're finding out what happened to the last one. And they're still not putting it. It's always something else that came into play. As long as that baby went home alive, it was a successful birth. And it is a successful birth. But that doesn't mean it's successful for development. And that's what you need to start learning. That's what you have to be on top of. Get your reports. You saw those things too. Get your reports. Get them home. Read them. You know, how many times am I saying, look at the hip? Oh, that I was told the hips were fine. Good. Can I see the report? I don't have any of that. Read your reports. Look at them. I can't even begin to tell you how many medical mistakes were made on my child's behalf. Forget not knowing all the information from the reports. So, is it going to happen to everybody? No. Is it going to happen to you? Maybe not. But when it does, it's 100%. So you really have to understand what it takes for your child to develop. And it's okay when you don't know. That's why you're here to ask the questions and get the answers you need. So again, it's free course access week. You know, just go right now and sign up and get into it. Do a movement lesson video. Do the newborn movement assessment. It's free. It's free. You know, start charting your baby, start looking at all of that. Do the parent workshop. There's so many avenues on how this can help you depending on where you're at. But you have to know where you're at. And if you haven't evaluated your child, you don't know. You just don't know. You're winging it. I get it. The development should be a requirement. But if you're here, it's now a concern or a worry. So you should be doing it. You should be doing the videos. And if you're not working with me, then you should be working with somebody else. You should be doing it. If you weren't here, then you wouldn't be worried and everything's going just fine. Right? But you're here to get some answers, but the answers are going to come from you, right? I've given you all the solutions, but the answers will come from you. Thanks. Have a good day.